spoiler alert, I really recommend that you read the Cask of Amontillado again if you have done it before or for the first time, or just watch my video that's linked down below in the description and probably also at the end of this video. So I haven't uploaded in a very long time, and that's because I got distracted by this little thing called childbirth and raising a human. So this has given me a lot of time in the middle of the night when I've got a sleeping baby that is trying to feed at the same time to watch YouTube videos. And I noticed that a lot of the YouTubers that I really enjoy who critique literature and fantasy and various types of cinema all did the same thing of One Villainous Scene. I thought, that's interesting. I kind of already did that with my Cask of Amontillado video. I wonder what this is all about. Found out, oh, there's a playlist. Well, I hope mine makes it on there, and if it doesn't, I still had fun doing this. I recommend that you actually go and watch my video on the Cask of Amontillado because it will explain a lot of the in-depth stuff about the character Montresor, who is the villain in the story, and his victim Fortunato, and even the mysterious other individual that the narrator Montresor is talking to at the very beginning and at the very end. Very good joke indeed. Excellent jest. We will have much a rich laugh over at the Palazzo. Over wine. The Amontillado? Yes. The Amontillado. But is it not getting late? Will not they be waiting for us at the Palazzo? The Lady Fortunato and the rest? Let us be gone. Yes. Let us be gone. For the love of God, Montresor. Yes. For the love of God. I think what makes Montresor a really great villain is the fact that he never monologued. During the entire thing, he never monologued to Fortunato, even when he had Fortunato in his grasp, completely chained up, literally chained up, could not escape, and he was about to do his final blow, not actually a blow, to end Fortunato's life, and he never monologued. Fortunato never knew why Montresor was killing him or what had led up to that point. It came completely out of the blue. Now, we know from reading through the story or having watched my video where I read through the story and explained everything, that all throughout the entire short story, Montresor had been giving hints to Fortunato that there was going to be some bad stuff at the end. The Medoc, the de Grave, the Mason's Trowel, all those little, hints and tricks and puns were leading up to the very end, where Fortunato's chained up in the bottom of the catacombs and being bricked into the wall. There's a tendency for villains to monologue. The Incredibles comments on it, but it's the typical, "Before you die, Mr. Bond." Well, Montresor never does that. I mean, he is a stereotypical villain. He wears a black anachronistic cloak. He goes around making snide comments, and he lives in a house that's above an underground cavernous graveyard filled with bones that are artistically arranged. His family crest is of a snake biting someone's foot. Kills someone with puns. I mean, villain. Totally villain right here. So we know that Montresor is a baddie, but Fortunato has no clue the entire time. And he gets led down into this trap. But once in that trap, Montresor never monologues. He never explains himself. In fact, he never really explained it to his audience that he's telling his short story to. At the beginning, he just said, "The 1,000 injuries of Fortunato I had suffered as best I could. But when he ventured upon insult, I vowed revenge." That's all we know. That's all we ever know as to the reason why Fortunato had to die. And not just die, but like die in a terribly horrific way. Die by using Fortunato's faults against him. And what were Fortunato's faults? One, pride. He multiple times was given an out, and Montresor said, "Hey, we should leave these catacombs. It's not good for your health. You could die down here." Literally tells him, "This cavern could kill you. Should we leave? I'll just talk about the Amontillado with Lucchesi. Come, we will go back. Your health is precious. You're rich, respected, admired, beloved. You're happy, as once I was. You are a man to be missed. For me, it's no matter. We will go back. You will be ill, and I cannot be responsible. Besides, there's Lucchesi." "Enough. The cough is nothing to me. It will not kill me. I shall not die of a cough." True, true. And because Fortunato is kind of in a rivalry with this other guy, he keeps pressing on even though he's got a racking cough and the dampness and the mold and the nitrate is aggravating his lungs. He presses on. So he's got pride going against him. And then the reason why he's going there in the first place is gluttony. He is totally into getting to taste this fantastic wine on someone else's dime. If there is a top shelf booze that he thinks he can schmooze off of somebody for free, he's gonna do it. So he's a glutton and he's full of pride, and Montresor uses those two things against him. It keeps driving him along until he's chained up in a bone-filled basement, getting it bricked into a wall. Once he's chained up there, Montresor keeps up the friendly act. He doesn't have to. He could have stopped. He could have been like, "Ha, now I have you, Fortunato. Because you did this thing to me, I am now killing you." Instead, he just plays that it's still them having fun going down through the catacombs to get some sherry to drink. Pass your hand over the walls. You cannot help but feel the nitrate. Indeed, it is very damp. Once more, let me implore you to return. No? Well, then I must positively leave you. But I first must render you all the little attentions in my power. And then he proceeds to brick him up. So he's still like, "Oh, you could get a cough from the dampness and the nitrate on the walls. We should leave." "Oh, you're not gonna leave?" "Because you're chained to the wall, because I just chained you to the wall." "Oh, well, that's too bad, but I'll try to help you anyway." Uncovers the bricks and the mortar and starts laying bricks to brick him up into the wall. No monologue, just playing along still. Fortunato is still a little bit drunk, and he's like, "The Amontillado?" He's chained to a wall, and he's still asking about the free top shelf booze. "Oh, yes, the Amontillado," says Montresor, just like he has for the entire trip down into the catacombs. Eventually, Fortunato figures out that he is stuck and that the light is diminishing as tier after tier of bricks is being built up on the wall, and he starts screaming. He starts yelling for help, anyone to help him. And what does Montresor do? At first, he was a little bit nervous, and then he realized, wait, we are way down in the catacombs. There is no way anyone is going to hear Fortunato. And so he joins in Fortunato's screaming. Screams just as loud, even louder, joining them, echoing them, repeating what he says, until Fortunato realizes that he's being mocked. Not being monologued to, just being mocked. Fortunato goes quiet as Montresor mocks him in his terror. Power villain move right there. At the end, there's just one brick left to put in place, and Fortunato starts to get a little bit desperate and hysterical, and he starts laughing, and he's like, haha, funny joke. You got me, Montresor. I don't know why you're doing this, but let's just call this all off. You can undo all of these wet bricks because there's still plenty of time. You can unchain me. We can go back to the surface and laugh this all off, share a couple drinks. And Montresor's like, oh, drinks of Amontillado. Yeah, the Amontillado. But it's getting late, and my wife and those other people that you mentioned might be missing us. Shouldn't we be going back up to the surface? Earlier, Montresor had said that he was a person who was respected, admired, and beloved. His wife loves him. People care about him. He's, yeah, full of pride and a glutton, but he's a friendly, amicable dude. And he's just jovial and funny, and people like being around him. Not so Montresor. Montresor is not as popular. So yeah, Fortunato's gonna be missed, but not yet. You see, Fortunato did the mistake of leaving with somebody who wanted to murder him secretly without telling anyone who he was going with. So back up at the surface, when they first encountered each other, it was just people dressed up in costumes, one dude dressed up as a fool, the other one dressed up as a villain in a black cape and a black mask, talking to each other and walking away with each other. Nobody knows who Fortunato walked away with. So nobody knows where to look for Fortunato, who to suspect, where to find his body. So, yeah, Fortunato will be missed, but nobody's gonna know where to look for him. There's no witnesses. And he begins to realize that. Montresor doesn't need to say that. It's just a fact. And finally, he just begs Montresor, begs in the name of God, Montresor. And Montresor doesn't care. Now, that's a little bit of a surprise to some, because you would think invoking God, particularly this was written by Edgar Allan Poe in the Victorian era. Taking God's name in vain was a thing that people could get arrested for. So, yeah, taking God's name in vain was not acceptable. So, the fact that Fortunato invoked God and Montresor just kind of brushed it off tells you a lot about Montresor and about his devious plan. See, Montresor is such a good villain, he did plan out the perfect crime. At the very end, it says that brick wall that Fortunato's corpse is behind hasn't been disturbed in 50 years. 50 years! Nobody has known that Fortunato is buried down in that catacomb crypt of the Montresors. But wait, he did monologue. He monologued this entire time. From the very beginning, he was talking to somebody who knew him really well, and at the end, he's confessing his crime, his perfect crime. Doesn't that count as a monologue? No, it does not. That is the pièce de résistance, the final thing that makes him the perfect villain who committed the perfect crime. You see, he wanted to get away with it, not just for his lifetime, not just for 50 years. He wanted to get away with murder forever, for all eternity. And how do you do that? Murder is like one of the 10 commandments, like thou shalt not kill is way up there in the list. You break that one, you're burning in the fiery pit. Unless you confess. The last line of the short story. En passe requiescant. Rest in peace. The final words of the last rites ritual, where you are forgiven all of your sins so that your soul can ascend to heaven. This short story is not a monologue. It is the final capstone in getting away with murder and still making it into heaven. And that is why Montresor is an incredibly good villain, because every part of the story is building to him getting away with his crime. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watch my other video on the Cask of Amontillado. I do plan to have more videos eventually. I have a ton of stuff that I recorded before I went into labor that is unedited, and this is pretty roughly cut together because I'm doing it at like 2:30 in the morning, no, 2:40 in the morning, because this is a time that I had that my baby didn't need me. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope I can put out more videos soon. Do the like, subscribe, click the bell thing so that whenever I do get back into doing my YouTube videos, you'll actually be notified. Just leave me in your list of subscribed things that you almost never see anything from. There will be stuff in the future, just trust me. And it's going to have more of a storytelling literature bent, though I will still have stuff out in the garden. I will still have art projects. I will still have cooking. I will still have household projects. But I definitely want to do more of the storytelling, more of the art, and more of the literature. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. It's now 4 a.m. I'm editing, and I realized I had to reshoot stuff in a different shirt, because when you feed babies, it doesn't always stay down. I'm really doing fine. Just fine.